one I could not be more excited about. We got Brad Montague in the book. He came roaring on. I wasn't even ready. There he is. Brad! I just spilled water on my shirt because I was so excited to see you.
It's, people do that all the time.
Do they? Is that a comp? Do you get a lot of shirt spillers?
Yeah, it's every person I meet. They're like, "Oh man, I messed up my shirt. Thanks a lot."
You must be selling a lot of merch then. You get a wet shirt and you're
gonna make me spit on my shirt, Houston. Hey, when's your book come out? I was just wondering.
Oh, it's today, man. Yeah.
Oh!
It's, as Liz told me, it's my book birthday.
Dude, this is a great day for the world, for bookshelves everywhere. Congratulations, man. That's a lot of hard work and a lot of beauty you're adding to the world.
The last time we talked was because of your book being added to the world. So if anyone needs a new blue or yellow addition to your bookshelf.
Yeah, we're in the Yellow Book Club.
And Deep Kindness. It's a 1-2 punch. I really think they work well together.
Yeah, I think our books would be friends if they were animate and had feelings.
I think my book would spill on my book's sleeve.
There are so many amazing people watching this today. It's like you're running a marathon of kindness.
I feel like I'm about to it feels like we're still really early and I'm getting sore and need a Gatorade.
Pace yourself. It's okay. You've been training for this your whole life.
In some ways I have. Brad, I want to talk to you about how you've been training for kindness. Because I feel like you've gone through a winding and mysterious, you've wandered the map that you so beautifully offered in your book. So before we jump in, for those who don't know you, how would you describe yourself?
I am Brad, and I am a storyteller, a doodler, and trying to be a good future ancestor.
Storyteller, doodler, Brad, and future ancestor. Tell me about a doodle that has been indicative of kindness, or a doodle that you've done recently that you thought was going to tell the world a story of kindness.
Well, there's one that I draw all the time just for myself, to remind myself. It's a sun. When you're a kid, you get a piece of paper, you just draw the sun in the middle of the top corner.
Yeah.
Nobody told us that's what you're supposed to do, but every kid did that. They were just but I'll draw the sun, and there's this little poem that I have to remind myself all the time. Is that the sun showed up again. I looked up and asked it why. And the sun looked down and brightly whispered, to give you another try. And that's what I try to remind myself, that, okay, it's okay. We get another try. We get to do it again.
What's a time where you had to retry kindness?
Oh, I mean, it's often. It's a thing we do. It's a thing that, kindness, if we're not careful, is a thing people use that's a low bar, where we're just like, oh, be kind. That, that's like, please don't bite people. Please don't just be kind. And I think what you're after, and what I know you're about, and what I think this community is for, is a radical, fierce kind of kindness that pays attention, that looks at other people and wants to be kind because we are all humankind. It sees that you matter a lot, and I want to respect you and the fragile, beautiful life that you are, and the beauty that you add to this world, and what a miracle it is that we're getting to interact right now. So even though I'm just buying coffee, this is a sacred moment, and I'm going to treat it that way. So it's not just smiling and acting like, hey, you're I didn't bite you just now. It's acknowledging the incredible humanity of every person and acting like your life matters and the people around you matter. And it changes everything. It changes the way you get your coffee, the way that you right the way that you show up in the world. And it's something I'm trying to nurture all the time in my own life and my kids. And it's a practice
Yeah, it's the practice of not biting.
of
And
not biting people.
uh, it is a profound disposition to hold the world and each moment in it as sacred, as what are the chances, right? What are the chances that I'm
Yeah.
here with you at this time together buying this coffee? What are the chances that I would be here with you talking right now?
Right? I mean, if you really just paused and think about the person who challenges you the most, the person who, like, any sort of person who just really just rubs you the wrong way. And if you could just pause for a moment and realize all of the things that had to happen for that person to exist. And I try to think about those challenging people and the fact that they had a birthday at some point and somebody bought them a present and they loved them. And there's somebody who thinks about them and loves them just because they exist. And how can I get to that place and see them? I want to be able to do that more, so that we can unlock the wonder of every moment.
There's a lot of personal ownership in that, to say, I'm going to get myself to the place that in moments that challenge me, the reframe in my brain is, here's how I'm feeling now, and where do I want to get to hold this person in love, is a pretty practical, like, internal exercise that I don't always think about. Sometimes we always make it external, like, what do I need to do for this person now? But, like, what do I need to do to move myself to a place where I can hold this person with love? Tell me about, you said think about the person who challenges you the most. I won't ask you to say that person's name for you, but is there are there behaviors that challenge you a lot, and what is one way that you bring yourself to more of that loving disposition towards them?
Yeah, well, I've had to think about it in the way that I I love Peanuts, like Charlie Brown, Snoopy, all that whole thing. And we got to do a project with his family when the Peanuts movie came out, and we met Charles Schultz's wife. We met his son, and his son is who Pigpen was based after. And so he said, a lot of people think that I'm just a mess of a kid, and that I'm because Pigpen was based on me, that I'm Pigpen. And he goes, there's obviously more to me than the fact that I was a messy kid. He said I liked dirt bikes and stuff, and so my dad just sort of made this character Pigpen out of me. But then he told me every single Peanuts character, a lot of people think, oh, my dad was Charlie Brown because his name was Charles. He had sort of a melancholy attitude about him sometimes. And he's like, actually, my dad was a lot like Snoopy. Like, sometimes if he got excited, he would do this little dance. And actually, sometimes he's a lot like Schroeder, because he did this art on this comic strip. It was great art to him. Schroeder is doing this great art that's music, but it's on a toy piano. It's not like a respected instrument. And then Lucy is this critic, and that he has this inner critic. So he said, if you really want to know who my dad is, you need to look at all the Peanuts kids. And I've had to think about humanity that way. Like, if we really want to know what this is all about, we got to look at all the kids, every single one of us, that there's some aspect of us that is important. And I need, even if I don't understand those who are more critical or who see the negative side of things, like, I need that perspective. And so seeing that every single person has something to teach me, and that I have value to bring, it helps give me the confidence to know that any table I find myself at, I have something that I can bring to it that's helpful, and everybody else does too, if I can have the patience and the loving vision to nurture that.
So, from a practical perspective, if someone is challenging me, I have to think about, what is the other Peanuts character that this person
yeah, like, what are they adding to the story? What are they teaching me? How do we help each other? There's a story that I actually shared it yesterday. It's a little animated story that I made that's called The Dumpster Fire in the Garden. And it's me trying to work out how do I show up in the world right now? And we could just look at the problems in the world and add to them. We could look at all the anger and just fan the flames, make it bigger. Like we could just look at the dumpster fire and just dance by it. Like that would be easy and fun. But what if we went to a place where through compassion and creativity, we nurtured goodness and let it blossom and bloom? It takes more work and it takes longer, but doing that is what we're here to do. Not feed a dumpster fire, but ask, why is there one? And what goodness can we nurture? How can we add to the beauty, add to the life? How can we add goodness? And so it's pulling people away from those things that are unproductive and unhealthy to the essential, vital things of being a person.
Well said. More gardens, less dumpster fires.
Yeah, like okay, if you can see this, yeah, there's dancing by the dumpster fire, which seems fun, but I think we're called to do something far more.
That inspired by a movement that's familiar to you? Like, is that dumpster fire dance? Is that something that you've done, or is that a piece?
Oh, those moves?
Yeah.
Yeah. I pretty much move like, and my legs just go all wonky. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you and your wife going out seems like a wild. Brad, so today I was actually thinking about you last night as I was preparing for today, because people are like, it's gonna be a long time to talk, and I'm like, the good news is I don't have to talk very much. I'm doing a lot of listening, and in your book you talk about, instead of doing a speaking tour, you did a listening tour, which I think is so lovely. Tell me about one of the things you learned about listening. Not something you heard, but what did you learn about listening for yourself?
Yeah, there's this sort of pressure we can put on ourselves when we show up places sometimes to feel like we really have to say something witty or smart or not make a fool of ourselves. And we think that we have to bring something to the table that's, like a potluck dish of words. And the best thing you can bring to any room is just your presence, especially if there's children. Like as a father, I thought like my job was just to pour into my kids all this wisdom, but really it's just to be present. And to be present, then like playfully present is what I learned to be. This idea of showing up and creating a situation in which they add to it, and they feel the freedom to be themselves, to say whatever, and I get to bear witness to who they are. And in doing that, I found that I said a lot more by saying nothing, because I just showed up and said, I want to hear what you have to say. I want you to finish this sentence. I want you to tell me a story. And they did. They were like just waiting for somebody to give them permission to be themselves. So showing up is another practice of trying to just be in a spot and be able to receive and create a kind of comfort so that everybody there feels like they're worthy to add to it, and that you're going to hear what they have to say.
I hear you much more clearly through this than I would have otherwise. Thank you. I think the gift that we can give people of making them feel like they have something to offer, they're worthy of offering something, allows us to identify about one of the themes so far is seeing goodness or identifying goodness and then celebrating that goodness. What was some goodness that came forward in that listening tour that you think you might not have otherwise had a chance to get had you not been creating that space for people to give their gifts?
Yeah, so I visited third, fourth, and fifth grade classrooms in all 50 states, and they were different kinds of classrooms. There were big schools, small schools, schools with big budgets, schools with no budgets, home schools, unschools, and in those different settings, though they had different resources, there was a through line. And it was the kind of thing that, like, it doesn't make social media every day. It doesn't make the news. It's just this like quiet hum of love that just is happening. Like these little acts of care that are happening, that are so vital to the lives of every person in its orbit. And we don't get to see it. We're not privy to it, to all of the untied shoes that get tied every day, all of the school lunches that get paid for when, you know, somebody didn't have the money, all of the little acts of care that are happening. And so I got to see those. Like, I got to go back to these schools and see these people who were showing up, you know, and they were doing incredible things with students, like projects that I would have loved. But the coolest thing was the fact that there were just these caring adults who were showing up. And so it gave me, and it's like right now during this time, I've had to keep that in mind, of those times, those moments of despair or feeling like this is all too much. I have this reminder that there is right now actively showing up in the world a whole army of incredible people. And they don't think what they're doing is huge, but it is holding this all together. Like Wendell Berry's one of my favorite writers, and he says it all turns on affection. Like, it all turns on affection. And so part of why I wrote my book and it was to remind people that those little things they're doing are huge. So you don't have to do something huge, just show up, tie a shoe, look a kid in the eyes, let them know they matter. And what I love about what you do is everything about you is just a constant invitation, Houston, for everybody to show up and show love. It's just like, it's just gushes out of you. And I'm so excited for people to get their hands on the book, but I'm even more excited about what's going to happen next. You know, because all these people are going to read it and then they're going to go, oh yeah, I can do this. I'm already doing this. Let me nurture that more. So it's going to be cool, man.
Happy to be an inviter of love, and thank you for RSVPing so consistently, showing up. Brad, it is time. You know what time it is. Quick, kindness questions. Okay. Yeah, take that drink of water, spill it on your shirt just a little bit. A synonym for kindness is?
Consideration, respect, wonder, awe.
Ooh, I like it. It's all hyphenated. The opposite of kindness is?
Oh, the opposite of kindness would be, I went blank because it would be empty. It would be nothing. It would be asleep. It would be the absence of all humanity, the destruction.
Empty, asleep, destruction. Those are strong opposites.
Yes.
The kind of kindness the world needs is?
Joy-filled.
What's that? Brad, the team has come together to build a deep kindness challenge for you. You wrote a book called Becoming Better Grown-Ups. So who inspires you to be a better grown-up? Who lives with intention and wonder in their life? You got someone in mind?
Yeah, there's an older man here in town that his name's Larry, and he writes kind notes. He's lived an entire life of caring for people, and he's got a lot of wisdom, and he could share it, but he does way more listening than I would if I knew all the things he knows. And he has boxes and boxes of art from kids. He promised himself that any kid who drew anything for him, he'd keep. And so he has all that. So I want to live the kind of life that he's got now, where he's beginning to see little fruits of the goodness that he's planted for years, but he's just not giving up. He just keeps showing up.
Well, we have a little prompt that you could use to celebrate, Larry. Can you see it on the screen?
I
You can nearly see it on the screen.
oh, there it is. Yeah. Dear Larry, I'm so happy to know a generous grown up like you. One word I think of when I think about your grown upping. Oh, that's a good friend. Is grace. You inspire me when you say things like, I see you. Oh, that's good.
Well, thank you, Larry. Thank you, Brad, as usual, for your wonder, your joy, and this moment. You have no idea how sacred it is to me. So I appreciate you so much, my friend.
Oh man, I'm so thrilled for you and that amazing book. Bravo, sir. Tip of the hat.
You as well. More to come.
Yes, to be continued. All right, so take a deep breath. You got a long marathon ahead of you. You know, get some stay hydrated, and remember that every mile matters. So it's okay.
Thanks for being a great mom, Brad. We'll see you later.
See you, pal.